WWE NXT Results the 31st of January 2023. The Vengeance Day Go Home edition of WWE NXT opens live on the USA Network as Vic Joseph welcomes us to the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. He's joined at ringside by WWE Hall of Famer Booker T. Vic says tonight's show will be presented with limited commercial interruptions. The Creed brothers vs. Indusher. We go right to the ring for tonight's opener as the Creed brothers come out first with Ivy Nile, Julius Creed and Brutus Creed. Out next comes Indusher with Jinder Mahal, Sangha and Veer Maran. The bell rings and Julius starts off with Veer. They collide with shoulders early on and talk some trash. They trade blocks and then unload on each other with big strikes. Veer knocks Creed into the corner. Sangha tags in, as does Brutus. They lock up and go at it now. Sangha clubs Brutus down but misses in the corner. Sangha fights out of the corner but Brutus catches a kick. Sangha holds Brutus, allowing Veer to tag in and deck him. They drop Brutus with a big double team. Veer drops an elbow. Julius ends up coming in and leaping into the corner to deck Veer while Brutus holds him there. The Creeds with a double team takedown. The double team offense continues to keep Veer down now. Julius covers for two while Jinder taunts and distracts from ringside, allowing Sangha to tag in while Julius gets dropped. Sangha keeps Julius down and stands on him. Veer tags back in and they double team Julius with the big stomps to keep him down, then stand tall over him. Julius tries to fight back but Veer clubs him. Julius with a takedown. Sangha tags in and levels Julius. Sangha launches Julius face first into the top turnbuckle. Veer tags back in but Julius tackles Sangha. Veer pulls Julius off Sangha and stomps away. Sangha tags back in for the double team shoulders. Sangha keeps control and hits a big running corner splash, then an elbow takedown for a 2 count. Sangha puts Julius down face first, then mounts his back and works him over. Ivy and fans rally now as Julius drops Veer and crawls to his brother. Brutus tags in and unloads on Veer, then knocks Sangha off the apron with a flying cannonball. Brutus slams Veer for a pop, then goes to the floor to deck Sangha. Brutus with a German suplex to Veer. Brutus with more big blows to keep Veer down. Julius tags in and hits a standing shooting star press for a 2 count. Brutus tags in and tackles Sangha out to the floor. Julius lifts Veer for a big teetering powerbomb in the middle of the ring, but Veer kicks out just in time. Fans chant NXT. Now. Julius keeps control and waits in the corner to finish Veer now. Jinder grabs him from the apron. The referee yells at them both. Ivy hits the apron and yells at Jinder, forcing him off the apron. Julius runs the ropes but accidentally knocks Ivy to the floor and she lands hard. Julius is shocked. Brutus checks on Ivy now. Julius turns around to a huge lariat from Veer. Sangha follows up with a big chokeslam in the middle of the ring for the pin to win while Veer guards him. Winners, Indusher. After the match, Veer and Sangha stand tall as the music hits. We go to replays. Jinder joins Indusher while Ivy is checked on at ringside. Axiom is backstage watching Tyler Bates' NXT UK match with A-Kid. Bate walks up and says Axiom reminds him of A-Kid. Axiom, the former A-Kid, says he gets that a lot. They agree that they should wrestle each other and tear the house down tonight. Damon Kemp interrupts and says all this friendly competition and talk about respecting each other makes him sick. Kemp says when he was in the UK, he learned that all you UK people are soft, and the European style of wrestling is overrated. Kemp says as for A-Kid, if they see him, personally tell him he's hot garbage, according to Kemp. Axiom says if he sees Kid, he will make sure to tell him. Kemp walks off and Bate and Axiom insult him behind his back. Zoe Stark vs Indy Hartwell. We go back to the ring and out comes Zoe Stark. Indy Hartwell is out next as Alicia Taylor does the ring introductions. WC video from earlier today with Indi telling the women's locker room about her Royal Rumble experience. Stark interrupted and Indi accused her of attacking Nikita Leon. Stark said she didn't attack Leon, but if she did, we'd all know about it. Stark knocks Indi for her Rumble performance compared to what she did. Sol Ruka defends Indi against Stark and reminds her how Indi beat her last time they faced. Stark told Ruka to stay out of her business if she knows what's good for her. Stark then warned Indi about tonight's match, and walked off. The bell rings and they lock up now, going to the corner. Indi fights out of the corner as the Indi wrestling chant starts up. Stark retreats to the floor to regroup as fans boo. Indi follows and drops Stark, then pulls her out to ram her into the edge of the apron a few times. Indi with a big boot and more offense as she brings it back in. Indi covers for 2. Indi keeps the offense going, then grounds Stark. Stark ducks a move but Indi kicks her. Stark with a takedown and a sliding clothesline for a 2 count. They trade strikes now. Stark sends Indi into the corner but Indi whips her hard across the ring, then nails a side slam for a 2 count. Stark fights back from the apron and drops Indi, then launches herself over the top rope with a corkscrew splash for a 2 count. Stark unloads with punches now. Stark grounds Indi again. More back and forth now. They trade big strikes and Indi unloads on Stark. Indi slams Stark in the middle of the ring for another close 2 count. Stark rocks Indi with a roundhouse kick, then a German suplex. Indi kicks out just in time. Indi blocks a half and half, then they tangle some more. Indi rocks Stark from the apron and goes to springboard but she crashes and burns. Stark with her modified GTS, feast your eyes for the pin to win. Winner, Zoe Stark. After the match, Stark stands tall as the music hits and we get replays. Stark mounts Indi with right hands now until Sol Ruka rushes out to make the save. Stark regroups at ringside as Ruka looks on and her music hits. The Schism is backstage now. Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed say a day of vengeance is on the horizon for the Schism as they see vengeance as something owed to them for far too long. They say the NXT Tag Team titles have been kept from them since the inception of the dyad. Joe Gacy says tonight Fowler and Reed will change their destiny by altering the reality of others. Ava Raine says they already know who Edrison Oaf and Malik Blade are, but everyone at Chase University worships a false idol in Andre Chase. She says they are not a family. Chase is abusive, devious, and delusional. She says school spirit will not help them tonight because Chase U will fail. There is no unit stronger than the Schism. Gacy says they are 4 roots, 1 tree. The Schism puts their yellow masks on, then walk off. We see NXT North American Champions Lee walking backstage. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Apollo Crews is on the roof of a building in downtown Charlotte, North Carolina. Crews hypes up the city and says he came to Charlotte early to get a feel for the city's energy and he can feel it from up on this roof. He says NXT is coming, and so is he. Crews needs 2 falls, that's it. He's visualized this 2 of 3 falls match with Carmelo Hayes 100 times. He knows Hayes will be fast and flashy, but he's ready for Hayes' game plan. Crews says his best will always be better than Hayes' best. Crews says if Trick Williams wants to get involved, he will be handled. Crews says Hayes wants to call Crews the past and Hayes the future, but at Vengeance Day the past will dictate the future. Crews walks off as we see a shot of the Charlotte skyline at night. We go back to the ring and out comes NXT North American Champions Lee to a pop. Lee talks about Vengeance Day and how he's in for one of the toughest fights of his life against Dijak. Lee is sure he has an ass-whooping coming his way on Saturday. Lee says just like he did with Carmelo Hayes and Tony D'Angelo, the Cardiac Kid will rise as our champion. The music interrupts and out comes Dijak. Dijak says he wants Lee to soak this all in, enjoy these moments because these are his final days as champion. Dijak says Lee gave a real motivating speech, but reality is that it won't make a damn bit of difference. Dijak says Lee had every opportunity to hand the title over, but he was too stupid to take it, and now on Saturday he has to face off with the biggest and baddest of the NXT locker room. Dijak says he will rip the title from Lee's broken hands. Lee says that's exactly what he will have to do, pry it from his dead hands, but that will be easier said than done. Lee goes on about being a fighter, and when he didn't think he could fight anymore, the fan support showed him he can reach levels he never dreamed of. Lee says at Vengeance Day, Dijak isn't just fighting him, he's fighting everyone on the West Side. Dijak says Lee might be fighting for the fans, they damn sure won't be fighting for Lee. They face off in the ring now, but the music interrupts and out comes Mr. Stone and Von Wagner. Stone says it sounded like Dijak says he's the biggest and baddest, but he must have forgotten about Von. Von tells Dijak to take those stupid sunglasses off because we're inside, and the only injustice is Von getting overlooked. Dijak says his eyes are focused only on the title, and he has no issues with Von right now. Wagner sucks. Chant starts up. Von and Stone are in the ring now. Lee stirs the pot between Dijak and Wagner. Dijak tells him to shut up, he sees what Lee is trying to do. Lee only sees an injustice that needs to be fixed. Lee suggests we may need a new #1 contender after Vengeance Day, and he goes on proposing a Dijak vs Wagner match for tonight. Stone likes this idea. Dijak has heard enough as he attacks. Lee ducks and Dijak decks Wagner instead. Von unloads on Dijak, knocking him out of the ring. Officials rush over and try to keep them apart as Dijak gets ready to fight. Fans chant let them fight. Now. Dijak vs Von Wagner. The bell rings as Dijak enters the ring and brawls with Von Wagner. They go at it and Wagner drops Dijak with a jumping knee strike. Von with a big fall-away slam as we go to a picture-in-picture commercial break. Back from the break, and they have been brawling all during the commercial. Dijak slams Von for a 2 count. Lee has joined the announcers for commentary now. Dijak fights Von off with kicks and punches. Von counters a suplex and launches Dijak into the turnbuckles with a suplex of his own. Von with a corner splash, but then he runs into a big boot. Dijak blocks a slam and decks Von with a forearm. Von with big knee strikes to the gut. They keep colliding with stiff strikes. Dijak with a superkick. Dijak keeps coming, but Von meets him with a big boot. Dijak kicks out at 2 as fans chant NXT. Now. More back and forth now. Von goes for a chokeslam, but Dijak counters and flips out, landing on his feet. Dijak comes right back with hard justice in the middle of the ring, but Von kicks out and the crowd can't believe it. Dijak takes Von to the top and they continue fighting. Dijak goes for the super chokeslam, but Von elbows him and then clubs him with forearms. Von yells out, then brings Dijak to the mat from up high with a big slam. Dijak kicks out for another NXT count. Dijak blocks the angle slam. Dijak applies a choke from behind as Von starts to fade. Mr. Stone screams from ringside. Von is fading as Dijak scoops him to his shoulders, then delivers Feast Your Eyes in the middle of the ring for the pin to win, all while staring out at Lee. Winner, Dijak. After the match, Dijak stands tall as Lee looks on from commentary. We go to replays. Lee stands on top of the barrier now, yelling back at Dijak while raising the NXT North American title in the air. Channing Stacks Lorenzo and Tony D'Angelo are backstage. Stacks says he can't stand this Dijak guy, and he's probably winning the NXT North American title on Saturday. Tony says forget about Dijak now, street justice has no time limit. They mention that thing and Stacks says he took care of business because he's the underboss, so it's on next week. Tony says let's go take care of that other thing now. They walk off. Vic shows us Nikita Lee on tweet confirming her successful surgery to repair the torn ACL and meniscus. We go backstage to Mackenzie Mitchell now. She walks us through the recent parking lot segment where Leon was attacked by a mystery person. We see Valentina Foz walking away, while Danny Palmer, Ariana Grace and Alexis Late were walking into the building. An unidentified woman was driving away in a white car, and Elektra Lopez was walking with Lola Vice, and they were close to Leon. Tiffany Stratton was going through her bag, standing near a car, but apparently not concerned. Mackenzie wonders if Stratton used something in her bag to attack Leon. We also see Zoe Stark walking away in the background, and Mackenzie says she's a prime suspect. Tatum Paxley and Lash Legend are shown lurking way off in the background. We also see how Indy Hartwell and Lyra Valkyria came to tend to Leon, and call for help. Mackenzie points to how Wendy Chu was also seen observing things from a vehicle. Mackenzie says no one is taking credit or claiming responsibility for the attack, but if that changes, Mackenzie will update us. Still to come, an inside look at the Vengeance Day main event. Back to commercial. Back from the break and we get an inside look video package preview for the steel cage match between Grayson Waller and NXT champion Bron Breakker at Vengeance Day. Axiom vs Tyler Bate. We go back to the ring and out first comes Tyler Bate. Axiom is out next. The bell rings and they briefly size each other up, then lock up. Bate takes it to the ropes, then backs off. They go at it and Bate shows Axiom up coming out of the corner. They trade a fence and pin attempts. Bate with a 2 count. Bate blocks Axiom and nails an arm drag, then holds him there. Bate works on the arm now. Axiom fights up and out but Bate grabs the arm and grounds him once again. Axiom tries to mount a fence again but Bate grounds him by the arm. Fans do dueling chants now. Axiom with an arm drag and a kip up. Axiom with an enziguri and a 2 count. Fans rally as Axiom covers for another pin attempt. Axiom with a big kick to the gut. They both tumble over the top rope and hit hard on the floor. Fans chant NXT. As we go back to a picture-in-picture commercial. Back from the break and Bate spins Axiom around on his shoulders several times. Bate is still standing somehow but he slowly goes down, then powers back up and takes Axiom for another spin as fans pop. This time Bate slams Axiom to the mat for a 2 count. Axiom and Bate trade big strikes in the middle of the ring now. Axiom drops Bate with an enziguri, then nails a running punt kick for a close 2 count. Bate fights out of the corner and goes for a second rope flying uppercut but Axiom catches him in midair and takes him down into a body scissors. They get back up and go at it, trading big super kicks. Axiom rolls a stunned Bate up for a close 2 count. Axiom rocks Bate with a big right, then dodges a move. Bate dodges a super kick and rocks Axiom. Bate with the boing. Axiom counters the Tyler Driver 97 with a Northern Lights suplex for 2. They trade pin attempts and Axiom nails a Hurricane Runner for 2. Bate with the Tyler Driver 97 in the middle of the ring for the pin to win. Winner, Tyler Bate. After the match, Bate stands tall as fans give him a standing ovation. The music hits and we go to replays. Bate gets the crowd to give it up for Axiom as they chant Axiom. Now, Bate and Axiom shake hands to a pop. Damon Kemp suddenly attacks from behind and drops them both. Kemp continues the attack on Axiom until Bate rushes back in to make the save. Kemp retreats to the floor and continues to yell at Bate. We go to a pre-recorded vignette with Isla Dawn, who is walking around a fire. She talks about how the end of spring in her land brings time to heal, time to put this all behind us, to mark new beginnings. Tonight we will purge constraints of the past, we purify the negative energy surrounding us, we transform the uninitiated into members of this house. We see Alba Fire standing there now. Dawn says there has always been rage inside of Fire, she just needed a gentle nudge from Dawn. Dawn asks, shall we? Fire nods. Dawn throws salt to the fire while saying join them as they let go of their bridled passions, as they shed their egos, relinquish their need for control. We see flashes of recent happenings between Dawn and Fire over the flames of the fire. Dawn says, "These emotions no longer serve then." Fire repeats this line. Fire puts the fire out. Dawn says, "With this ritual, the initiation process has begun." Dawn laughs and walks off as Fire follows her, smirking. Vic says the festival of spring is here. We see Toxic Attraction and Roxanne Perez getting ready for their split-screen interview backstage. Back to commercial. Mackenzie is backstage with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, asking if they saw Apollo Crews' visions from earlier tonight. Mackenzie says Trick seems shook right now, and Trick says he's shook like booty meat on a Friday night. Trick isn't really scared. He jokes about Crews' visions being like Miss Cleo. Hayes talks him down and Mackenzie asks about the 2 of 3 falls match. Hayes goes on about how Crews can't touch the level he's on. He says Crews can never be him until he beats Hayes at Vengeance Day. We go back to Booker and Vic. They're joined by NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane for a split-screen interview. Perez is asked about the Royal Rumble experience. She calls it incredible, and says she's so grateful. Perez is mocked by Toxic Attraction for her Rumble performance now, and they say she will be losing the title at Vengeance Day. Jane says it will be all over for Little Miss Perfect soon. Perez tries to bring up the tension in their friendship. They say she has the same chance at retaining on Saturday that she had to win the Royal Rumble. 0. Jane says Perez peaked at 21 years old and that sucks for her, but it's all coming to an end this weekend. Dylan says Perez made one critical mistake, she messed with Toxic Attraction. Jane says whether Perez likes it or not, it will be 2-on-1 this Saturday. Dylan says the 15 minutes of fame for Perez is over this weekend. They keep taunting her and she gets up to walk away. Vic says that wasn't nice, they hurt Perez's feelings and made her leave. Vic talks about who will win if it's not Perez, and they insist they both will be champion. Jane says she and Dylan will take their rightful place as champion on Saturday, and show the world who they are. Dylan says this day has been a long time coming, and they will take their spot at the top of the division. Dylan slips up and says she will become champion. Jane and the fans notice this, and Jane isn't thrilled. Perez suddenly rushes in from the side and attacks, taking them both down, crashing through the set. Officials rush in to restore order but the chaos continues. Danny Palmer vs Stevie Turner. We go back to the ring and Danny Palmer is waiting. Stevie Turner is out next to make her main NXT brand debut. They lock up and Turner takes Palmer down by her arm. Palmer flips up and out to turn it around, but Turner breaks away. They trade holds again but Turner rocks Palmer and applies a headlock. Turner dodges a shot and nails a big boot. Turner kicks Palmer around in the head as fans boo and the referee warns her. Turner with a running big boot against the ropes. Palmer shoves Turner away but Turner kicks her and unloads with strikes. Turner with an inverted neckbreaker and another takedown. Turner grounds Palmer now as fans rally. Palmer fights free and they go at it now. Palmer with flying shoulder takedowns. Turner decks Palmer but Palmer fights free, then hits a Thesz press and right hands. Palmer scrambles and charges back but Turner catches her with a pump kick to the jaw. Turner drops Palmer with a DDT now. Turner with a sit-outside slam in the middle of the ring. Turner then mounts Palmer for the pin to win. Winner, Stevie Turner. After the match, Turner stands tall as the music hits. We go to replays. Turner continues her celebration. We go backstage and see Kiana James on the phone. She tells someone she will see them there, and says she loves them too. It sounds like she may have said Zach. Fallon Henley walks up and asks who she was on the phone with. James says no one, don't worry about it. Henley says she knew James would break Brooks Jensen's heart. James says it's not what she thinks, and she doesn't even know why she's upset. NXT Women's Tag Team Champions Katana Chance and Kaden Carter interrupt, and point to how James and Henley aren't talking about Saturday's title shot. James insists they will still win the titles. Henley says this is the biggest match of her career and she's going all out. They trade more words and the champions don't care if they go all out because the titles are staying with them. The champs walk off. James is distracted in thought. Fallon tells her to stay focused for Saturday, but this conversation is not over. Charlie Dempsey vs. Drew Gulak. We go back to the ring and Charlie Dempsey is already out. Drew Gulak is out next with Hank Walker at his side. The bell rings and they go at it, trading holds and takedowns. Dempsey breaks free and works on the arm, but Gulak turns it around and they break. We go to a picture-in-picture break as they size each other up for a test of strength in the middle of the ring. Back from the break and they're going at it. Dempsey with a big takedown by the knee. Dempsey wastes some time but covers for a 1 count. Dempsey with a Northern Lights suplex, but he goes right into a submission, stretching Gulak's neck and arms. Dempsey with an elbow on the mat into a crucifix pin as Walker looks on. Dempsey with another double underhook suplex for a 2 count. Dempsey with a big German suplex into a bridge, but Gulak kicks out at 2. Dempsey attacks but Gulak rocks him and applies a chicken wing, but not all the way. Dempsey counters and sends him to the mat. Gulak blocks a shot and Dempsey hits the dragon screw leg whip. Dempsey with another submission to focus on the leg of Gulak now. Gulak comes right back with a big clothesline for a 2 count. Fans rally but Dempsey nails a unique backbreaker for a 2 count. Fans chant "Let's go Charlie." Now. Gulak with a big strike. Dempsey kicks Gulak in the face but Gulak takes him down for a 2 count. Dempsey rolls Gulak over for a pin but Gulak twists the arm and grounds him. Fans rally again. Dempsey goes for the cross-face chicken wing again but Gulak resists. Dempsey takes the knee out and pulls Gulak back into the chicken wing. Dempsey stays on Gulak's back as Walker barks encouragement from ringside. Dempsey is sent headfirst into the ropes but he knocks Walker back to the floor. This leads to Gulak rolling Dempsey up for the pin to win. Winner, Drew Gulak. After the match, Gulak stands tall as the music hits. We see a dazed Walker trying to recover at ringside. Gulak checks on Walker to end the segment. We go backstage to Von Wagner throwing a fit in the locker room, throwing furniture around. Mr. Stone says this is not working. He asks is he even managing Von. Stone says he's been managing Von for over 1 year and he knows nothing about Von. Who is Von? Stone knows Von is big and he growls, but everyone knows that. Stone says if Von wants to get to the next level of this business, he has to show Stone who he is inside. Stone says help me help you, just help me help you. Stone screams this again and walks off as Von watches. The announcers go over the Vengeance Day card now. The New Day Tag Team Invitational, the Dyad vs Andre Chase and Duke Hudson vs Edris Enof and Malik Blade. We go back to the ring for tonight's main event to determine who will join Gallus, Pretty Deadly and NXT Tag Team Champions The New Day at Vengeance Day in the Fatal 4-Way title match. Out first for the New Day Invitational comes the Schism, Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed with Joe Gacy and Ava Raine. The Schism poses on the ropes as we go to commercial. Back from the break and out comes Edris Enof and Malik Blade. Chase University is out next, Duke Hudson and Andrew Chase with Thea Hale. Duke starts off with Fowler and they go at it. Duke with a big slam in the middle of the ring. Chase and Enof are legal now. They lock up and trade holds. Chase with a roll up for 2 as fans do dueling chants. They trade holds on the mat again and Chase says this was a teachable moment. Chase dodges Enof but gets caught with a big dropkick in the middle of the ring. Blade tags him but Chase doesn't see it. Blade and Enof double team Chase and Blade covers for 1. Chase rocks Blade and in comes Reed off the tag. The referee forces Blade out as Reed goes to work on Chase, kicking him out of the ring. Fowler grabs Chase and they hit the big spiked tombstone piledriver on the floor, with Reed launching himself out of the ring for the spike. Gacy is satisfied. Fowler slams Chase on the apron and brings him back in, spiking him into the mat for a close 2 count. Fowler grounds Chase now as the Chase University students section rallies. Fowler breaks it and works Chase over for several quick pin attempts. Fowler is frustrated now. Chase finally gets an opening, but Reed runs in and dropkicks Duke off the apron. Reed turns around to a big backdrop from Chase. Chase goes to tag, but Duke is still down off the apron. Fowler attacks, but Chase gets the upper hand. Chase leaps to tag in Blade or Inoff, but the Dyad yank Inoff and Blade to the floor, and Chase lands hard. The Dyad with their double team backstabber to Chase, but he kicks out just in time. Duke finally gets the hot tag to unload on both of the Dyad. Duke clotheslines Fowler after right hands, then a senton. Duke attacks Reed and knocks him off the apron with a big boot. Duke brings Reed back in as fans chant "Let's go Duke." Now, Duke launches himself into a big German suplex to Reed. Reed kicks out at 2. Blade ends up legal with a big crossbody to Reed. Blade runs and leaps out to take Duke down on the floor. Blade tags in Inoff, then hits a top rope splash to Reed. Inoff then nails a top rope splash of his own to Reed off the top. Inoff and Blade with the big double team neckbreaker to Reed, but Chase, Duke and Fowler all rush in at the same time to break the pin up. Fans chant NXT, while everyone is down in the middle of the ring, and Hale is just screaming at ringside. Inoff and Blade keep control and end up nailing double dives to take the others down at ringside. Fans chant "This is awesome." Now, Inoff goes to the top, but Reed cuts him off and climbs up. Blade decks Reed and climbs up, but Fowler pulls Blade to the floor, then sends him into the steel ring steps. The Dyad climbs up for a double superplex to Inoff, but Chase tags in and slams all 3, Blade, Fowler and Reed, to the mat for a huge pop. Chase stomps on Reed as fans chant "CHASEU" with him. Rain jumps on the apron to distract Chase with yelling. Hale rips Rain off the apron to the floor. Fans chant "Thea." Now, Reed can't believe what he just saw. Reed misses a splash in the corner. Duke tags in and holds Reed up for Chase, so they can hit the double team flatliner, covering Reed for the pin to win and advance to Vengeance Day. Winners, Duke Hudson and Andre Chase. After the match, Chase and Duke stand tall as the music hits. Hale rushes into the ring and runs around while yelling out. We go to replays. Chase U continues their celebration until we see Gallus looking on from the platform above the crowd. Pretty Deadly comes out to the entranceway to stare down Chase U as well. The New Day appears on the big screen in what appears to be a pre-recorded video. They congratulate Chase U and announce that they are going to Vengeance Day. The New Day rants some and says they will see them all this Saturday in Charlotte. The New Day gets the crowd to give it up for Chase University one more time. Chase U's music starts back up as Gallus and Pretty Deadly look on. We cut to a Vengeance Day video package as the go-home edition of NXT goes off the air.